I'm Murray Newlands from Open Future Forum.
One topic comes up at almost every table right now: how executives should be using it themselves. Not their engineering teams, not their product org, them, the person in the corner office. Most of the executives I talk to fall into two camps. The first camp has tried ChatGPT a few times, found it useful for drafting an email, and moved on. The second camp is quietly using AI for hours every day and getting a real edge from it. The gap between those two groups is widening fast, and it's starting to show up in how quickly companies move, how well leaders prepare for board meetings, and how sharp their thinking is when it matters. That's why I wanted to put this briefing together. Today we're talking about Claude, and specifically how executives are using it. Not the hype version, what it's good at, what it's not good at, where it saves you real time, and where it changes how you think about a problem. I've invited Yvonne Newlands, who works with executives on this every day, to walk through the questions I hear most often at our dinners. We'll cover what to use it for, how to get past the blank page problem, what to be careful about with confidential information, and how to build it into your week without it becoming another thing on your plate. If you only have 10 minutes, this is the briefing I'd want you to watch before your next board meeting, your next strategy offsite, or your next quiet Sunday afternoon when you're trying to get ahead of the week. Let's get into it. So, Yvonne, when an executive sits down with Claude for the first time, what's the single best use case to start with? What gives them an early win?
Start with something you already have to do anyway. Take a long document you're dreading. A board deck, a market report, a 40-page contract. Paste it in and ask two things. Summarize this and tell me what I should be questioning. That's the early win. You were going to spend an hour on it. Now you spend 10 minutes and you walk in sharper because it surfaced the things you'd have skimmed past. I steer people away from starting with a blank page because that's the hardest thing to do well, and it's where most people decide it isn't for them. Begin with material that already exists. The value is obvious in the first 5 minutes, and there's almost no risk.
There's a real fear among leaders about putting confidential information into an AI tool. How do you think about that? And what's the practical guidance for board materials, financials, or personnel matters?
The honest answer is that there's far more you can safely do than most people assume. And the line is mostly about two things: which version you're using and who you've looped in. First, the version. The free consumer tier and the enterprise or team versions are not the same thing on data handling. For anything sensitive, you should be on a business plan with the right protections in place, not the free app you signed up for on your phone. Second, the judgment call. My simple test is, would I send this to an outside vendor over email? If the answer is no, then it doesn't go into any tool until your IT and legal teams have weighed in. Unreleased financials, personnel matters, anything legal or M&A related, those get real care. But notice how much is left over. Most of an executive's week is not made of state secrets. Public filings, industry research, your own draft thinking, meeting prep on things already widely known inside the company. Start there, get your IT and general counsel into the conversation early, and you'll find the safe zone is bigger than the fear suggests.
A lot of executives use AI for drafting emails and summaries. What's the next level up from that? Where does Claude start to feel like a strategic thinking partner rather than a writing tool?
The shift happens when you stop asking it to write things and start asking it to think with you. Drafting is, produce this for me. Thinking is, I'm chewing on this, help me see it better. Pressure test a strategy before the offsite. Make the strongest case against a decision you've already half made. Role play a hard conversation you're nervous about. Find the holes in your own logic before someone in the boardroom finds them for you. Here's the tell. When you're using it as a writing tool, you paste in finished thoughts. When you're using it as a thinking partner, you paste in half-formed ones. The messier the thing you bring it, the more useful it becomes. That's a level most executives haven't reached yet, and it's where the real edge is.
We've talked about using Claude to think alongside you, but there's a second mode where it actually does the work rather than just advising on it. Tools like Cowork. What does that look like for an executive?
Right, and this is the part most executives haven't seen yet. There are really two modes. The first is thinking with it, which we just covered. The second is handing work off to it. That second mode is where something like Cowork comes in. It's a desktop tool that lets you give Claude a task that runs across your own files and then carries it out step by step. Instead of just talking about it, you point it at the work and it does the work. For an executive, the point isn't that it does your job, it's that it takes the repeatable, low judgment work that quietly eats hours, turning a stack of documents into one clean summary, organizing a messy folder, turning raw notes into a structured brief, running the same report every week so you don't have to. The line I'd hold is this: you delegate the mechanical work, you keep the decisions. The first mode sharpens your judgment, the second buys back your time, and the executives getting real value are using both.
What are the most common mistakes you see leaders make when they start using Claude, and how do you steer them away from those?
4, and they're all fixable. The first is treating it like a search engine. They type one line, get a generic answer, and conclude it isn't smart. The fix is context. The quality of what you get back tracks the quality of what you put in. The second is not giving it a role or a goal. Help me with this email gets you less than "you're my CFO. Here's the situation. Here's what I'm trying to achieve." The third is accepting the first answer. The first answer is a starting point. The best results come from pushing back. That's too generic. Give me the version a board member would respect. The fourth, and the one that matters most, is confusing the two modes. Hand it the mechanical work, all of it you can, but don't hand it your judgment. The goal is never to let it decide. It's to walk in clearer than you would have on your own. The way I steer people is simple. Treat it like briefing a sharp new hire. Give it the context, the role, and the goal, and expect to go a few rounds.
What should an executive absolutely not use Claude for? Where are the hard lines?
A few hard lines. Don't use it for the final call on anything that needs a human accountable for the outcome. Delegating the work is exactly what the automation tools are for. But the decision, the thing you answer for, stays with you. That line should never blur. Don't trust it unverified on anything where being confidently wrong is expensive. Specific legal, regulatory, or financial details, anything cited as fact. It can be wrong with great confidence, so you check before you act. Don't put sensitive data into it without clearance, which is the same point we covered earlier. And don't use it to avoid the human parts of the job, the hard conversation, the relationship, the moment someone needs to hear something from you directly. It can help you prepare for those. It can't have them for you. The mental model I give people: treat the output as a strong draft, never the final word on anything that matters.
If you could give every CEO listening one habit to build with Claude over the next 30 days, what would it be?
One habit: before you walk into any room that matters, spend 10 minutes thinking out loud with Claude first. Not to get the answer, to sharpen yours. Tell it what you're walking into, what you want out of it, and what you're worried about. And let it ask you the questions you haven't thought through yet. Attach it to something that already repeats. Monday leadership prep, the day before a board meeting, whatever's already on your calendar. If you bolt it onto an existing moment, it becomes automatic instead of one more thing to remember. Do that for 30 days, and you won't think of it as an AI tool anymore. You'll think of it as the 10 minutes that make you walk in sharper. That's the whole game.
So there it is. Claude for executives in about 10 minutes. A few takeaways I'd leave you with. Start with one workflow, not 10. Pick the part of your week that drains you the most, whether that's prep for the Monday leadership meeting, reviewing long documents, or drafting communications, and build the habit there first. Once it sticks, add the next one. Be thoughtful about what you put in. Your board materials, your personnel files, your legal correspondence, those deserve real care, and your general counsel and your IT team should be in that conversation. And remember, there are two ways to use it. One is as a thinking partner to pressure test your own thinking before you walk into a room. The other is as a doer, handing off the repeatable work that eats your week so you get that time back. The executives getting the most out of this are doing both. If you found this useful, subscribe to the channel and come find me at the Open Future Forum if you want to be part of these conversations in person. We run private dinners across Silicon Valley for senior executives. And the AI conversation is one of the richest threads running through every table right now. Thanks for listening. I'll see you at the next briefing.